All right. We're going to give it just a second. But we are live now at Stand Up Fight Back, where we discuss strategy analysis for the progressive movement. We are here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, wherever you may be watching us from. We welcome you. Thank you for being with us. And definitely, we are looking forward to a good conversation today. Our co host, Jackie Hernandez. Welcome, Jackie.
Hi, everybody. Good to have you all tonight as well.
Yeah. Beautiful day today, Jackie. I mean, I just flew in from Florida and it was nice. I understand the weather
Yeah.
has been a little bit weird here, right?
Well, sort of, but I think it's expected for like fallish season. I am so excited to put those hoodies on. So I am welcoming the cloudy days. I'm actually very happy.
I know it was kind of weird over in Florida. The temperature dropped. I mean, I never felt it that cold over there. It was, in the 40s or something. But
Wow, that's really cool for Florida.
yeah, it was crazy. But I'm here and so much to talk about tonight. We want to welcome everybody, wherever you may be watching us from. Marco Paez, our co-host, is over in Europe today. So we want to wish her well. She's, as you know, she's studying and completing her doctorate on climate change and water. What an amazing person she is. It's like we cannot wait to
Yeah.
see the kind of work that she's going to be doing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's already a pressing issue that is going to lead into economics. So, whoever is telling you not to worry about climate change, they're lying to you because it's here. It's actually we can't even say it's coming. It really is here. So,
Right.
we are going to definitely need scientists like Margaret to lead us as well into knowing how to tackle this issue.
Right. Like I said, I just came from Florida. I was over at Fort Myers with a hurricane hit, and the devastation is unreal. It's that's just one area, and then we had the rest of the trajectory that this hurricane traveled through. Including Cuba, the damage that it caused in Cuba, the damage that it caused over in South and North Carolina. And, that's just one hurricane. And we have another hurricane right now, category 4, that is about to hit the Pacific over in Mexico, the Baja California, category 4.
Okay.
Yes. So, we continue to see issues after issues with the weather, with climate change, and we're going to continue to talk about that, and we're going to continue
Yeah.
to raise awareness because we cannot ignore it anymore. But Jackie, tonight, a very special night because we are going to have a guest later on this evening. We have Angelica Dueñas, which is running for Congress over at District 29. District
Woo.
29 is pretty much San Fernando Valley. So we are going to
Yeah.
be having her join us. We cannot wait to hear, you know, uh, about her campaign, the work that she's doing. But the elections are upon us. Midterm elections are upon us, and everybody's nervous because we don't know what's going to happen. On one hand, we have the extremist right wing, candidates that continue to deny, elections results, that bring their craziness. Like we have Herschel Walker, that I don't even know what to say about that guy. But these are the kind of candidates that are coming about nowadays, and you know, it's just beyond belief when we are seeing the kind of pain that the country is going through. And I cannot believe that these are the best candidates that are coming forward. Pretty much, like you see Congresswoman Green, a total lunatic. crazy woman that really like comes out and just says about anything. And the media that actually gives her the platform, gives her the stage to be able to say this. We have how many congressmen we have in the United States, but they got to give her the microphone. See, that's exactly what is wrong with the media. They highlight and they give the microphone to people that should not be, they should not be covering. They have nothing good to say but craziness. Anyways.
I think honestly, there's another congressperson who I think I think at this point we can be sure that the fact that education has been hit hard for decades already, and a lot of the even understanding of voting and elections is not very well understood by the American population. I think it's telling that these politicians, such as Major League Terry Green and like Lauren Boebert, and all of these other Congress people that say just wild things, really. I think the problem as well is because of all these components, there is a base of voters who are coming out here and believe in this or also think this. So I think that's the most dangerous part of all of this, that it's not just the politicians that are out there, it's a culture that America truly has created for itself. And when we talk about just the beginning of the country and how this nation even began, like there's really no clear cut way to just tell the story in the way that we learned it in school, right? It's some mythology all the time about pilgrims and them coming for a better life, when really it was also the colonies being expanded to ensure that Britain was able to be a competition against Spain and Portugal. So it really was an endeavor of trying to find more resources to ensure that they had a really good grip on the market and the spices and gold and all of these things. So when the country was really founded, when the founding fathers and everyone was like, we don't want to pay taxes, this and that, it really was an experiment. And more so, how can we create a country where some of us vote, right? Because it wasn't everybody. I think that's the other component of this that we people have to understand. Like we barely, like people like me can vote, right? It wasn't that long ago. So when we talk about the beginnings of this and who was allowed to vote, who were the people who had the power, it was white men who had property. So you had to have property. It really was an experiment of like creating a system where people who have power, who have ownership of materials and property and markets and businesses, we're the people in power. And quite honestly, when we don't go out to vote ourselves, now that we have some way to vote, and many of the states like California have easier ways to vote, when we don't go out to vote, we really are giving up that power again to those white men with properties, with businesses, because they're the ones not only voting, but they're the only ones who are also able to finance politicians with large degrees of money. So it really, this experiment of the American election system is still continuing, and we are allowing these corporations to still take power. It hasn't really changed that much. And I think it's because there is an interest to keep the system the way it is. It is the status quo. Everybody talks about that, right? But we really have to think about how the beginnings of this nation really began in order to really understand like how infant a democracy is and how infant any of these strategies really are. So when we talk about ensuring that progressives are going to get in office, it's still it still seems so slow, because it is, back then with the Red Scare and everything, a lot of people who were trying to have leftist politics were getting killed off, were getting imprisoned, were getting shut up. So in that sense, we're still at a very small group, small pace that is still blooming to ensure the progressives are coming into office. And it's a slow progress because there are people and actors against these policies that you and I want to move forward. So we really do have to think about, why it is that this country even exists. right? What this means and how it is that you and I are going to vote for a different outcome. But it's a progress. It's some baby steps that we're really taking because we do have interests against us.
Right. I mean, some of the issues that are resonating right now with these elections are issues that really affect all of us, especially the working class. So let's face it, these are the talking points that they're going to use, that they are actually using, is the very issues that affect us. Yet, when they are in office, we see them do nothing about it. You know, they talk about it. How long have we been talking about immigration?
We're a
How
long
much-
time.
how long have we been talking about the border?
Since
We
the
have
begin
done
honestly, since the
right.
beginning of everything, because someone commented as well, like they discourage the existence of the US, but as long as it exists, that we have to vote. And it's so true, because in many ways all of these issues have existed since the beginning of this nation, right? When immigration comes about, um it's really a touchy subject for some people who just don't want, who are xenophobic and racist. They just don't want, the whole great replacement theory is something that Fox News and Tucker Carlson put out there for a reason. As you mentioned, Carlos, all these people are listening. I mean, really, if Fox News didn't have listeners, I think they would have been done with their business by now. You know?
Right. Well, you know, they talk about the issues again because, but then these are just spins that they put
Yeah.
because the reality is that they are looking for no solutions. You know, they pretty much speak to the emotions of the people.
Yeah.
Who wants to live in an unsafe community? Of course, nobody does.
Nobody does. No.
You see, who wants to make sure that they have jobs? Everybody wants to make sure that they have
Mhm.
jobs.
Yeah.
So obviously they're going to be able to speak to those issues that people,
Mhm.
are pretty much thinking about, but that at the same time, in the other hand, or with the other side of their mouth, the politicians create policies that are hurting those same issues. They have
Yeah.
no interest. And let me say this again: both sides of the political arena have no interest in fixing the immigration crisis at the border. They would have done that a long time ago. Both sides, they have no interest in fixing the issues relating to drugs. You know, they continue to allow it to happen, and we still have a crisis. Both sides do not want to fix the housing crisis. And the list goes on and on and on. So for us to think that they are going to save us, they're not. They're not going to save us. You know, the reality is this: the politics in America is about money. It's
Yeah.
about the well connected. It's
Mhm.
about who buys influence. It's about policies of greed, policies of profit, not of the people. Every single policy is really lines up with profit, or with the powerful, or with power, or for the rich.
Yeah.
Very few policies here and there may do something in behalf of the people, but those are the pretty much leftovers, the crumbs that they throw at us.
Yeah, and that's where I think I have a problem with Democrats, right? Because it's mostly about welfare, but not about justice. And what I mean by that is they kind of give subsidies. For example, I'm just going to use the ACA, right? The Affordable Care Act. Instead of having single payer, and I know it would be difficult because of the situation of the Senate and the House and all of that. I understand the situation was difficult, but I'm just putting it out there because this is the difference between justice and obviously the crumbs that you're talking about. Justice would be single payer. We nationalize healthcare. There's no profit in healthcare and everybody is taken care of. Versus giving us crumbs and subsidizing the very corporations that are going to change their prices, that are going to like deny people care, that are going to change the medication that they cover. and then that leaves you with the check. Like there's so many situations that people experience, and then, oh, apply for this program and apply for that program, and it's like bureaucracy, 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 and to get those resources, it's just hell. And so then it becomes a thing where people are like, do I really want to try to get healthcare this way? And then they don't apply. Some people don't apply. They're so sick, or they even die trying to apply in the process.
Well,
So those are crumbs, and it does benefit some people, but it
right.
doesn't benefit everyone. And so you have some people who are really marginalized not getting the benefits. Seniors also with Medicare Advantage now also having to pay a higher price, especially taxpayers, because we're subsidizing companies. And those companies were the ones who came at the table when Obama was trying to do universal health care. And they were the ones who said, if you guys pass this bill, we're going to sue you. We're going to make it impossible for people to get health care. Again, the insurance companies came to the table and made the decision of not allowing us to have single payer. And this was before even with the American Medical Association, who stopped single payer from being a national reality back in the early 1900s. So it keeps on going, and it just shows you there is money to be made in healthcare. And so when we give policies out, the Democrats want to pass some of these policies that will ensure more people are covered, but the Republicans want just to take away any benefit possible, so
Well,
then it becomes a thing.
right. But the problem is that then you have these centrist Democrats
Yeah,
that prevent any
Mansion.
kind of progress, that will block
Yeah,
anything,
yeah, we saw that with
anything
Mansion.
significant to happen.
Mhm.
And these are the people that we keep electing. These are the people that they keep pushing to keep
Yes.
in office. The same establishment, the
Mhm.
same, the same DNC, the same Democratic Party committee keeps the same people that are blocking, like Munchin, you know,
They have money
they
to be
go over there
made.
and they cater to him. It's like, get rid of the
Yeah.
guy. He's
They
not
have
going to do it.
deals. They already made the deals with the corporations, they already did that. So it's one of those things where the money is what speaks to people. There was this documentary I watched by Robert Wright called Saving Capitalism that talks about Citizens United and what that meant for our vote. We corporations have 80% probability of their bills and their propositions are getting passed. Us, less than even 20% ability for our like propositions to even get heard. So that just tells you the power that Citizens United has really given these corporations, and that it's like not only the Republicans just want us to die in debt, but complete or die. But the Democrats also have deals made, and we saw that also with the candidate Jessica Cisneros and her opponent. I forgot her opponent's name, but
Right.
he basically was backed up by Nancy Pelosi, and he's an anti-choice, so he's anti-reproductive rights. And we had Jessica Cisneros, who was a progressive, who could have been such a different turnaround for Texas, and Nancy Pelosi chose to support her opponent, the guy, the incumbent. So those are just examples.
Right. And that's what we're saying. Look, uh, I know that we know what Republicans stand for. We know what they stand for, and they make it no secret. They're about corporations. They're about you, pretty much strap on your own boots, and if you down, pretty much you get up yourself. And what's funny about that is that they talk about socialism, they talk about this and that, but they are the first ones in line. Over in Florida, you have a lot of Cubans that vote Republican, and the minute that you talk politics, they trash socialism, but they are the ones that are receiving all the social benefits. They are the ones that are on receiving every single benefit out there. But then they have been so brainwashed into thinking that socialist or social democratic socialism is communism, or whatever they brainwash them with the talking points. But they are the ones that are out there receiving some of the benefits, And again, the politicians, like when the hurricane hit over in Florida, they're the first ones asking for assistance from the same social programs that they vote against, that they despise.
Yeah, and I think that's a tragedy of I mean, didn't we see DeSantis and Marco Rubio asking Biden for those funds? And this is where we know that collective good really stands when we, actually have a bucket where we can put our tax money for emergencies, for healthcare, for food, for anything that we need. And really, it's not viewed like that because I think, once again, when we think about what traction is it that certain people are thinking of when they think America? They really think of, everybody comes here for opportunity. But what does that mean, really, right? Opportunity can mean also ensuring that, you have your basic needs met so you can actually do something that doesn't have to do with a job and you're trying to survive and pay your bills. That to me is opportunity because you have the opportunity to be a human being, to be able to not only be working your life away, but having the ability to be with your family, to, enjoy going to the garden, enjoying going to the beach, having more life to what we live, what is around
Right,
us. That to me is opportunity. But the way that many people see opportunity and what American is like saying whatever you want, apparently, and not having any repercussions, being racist and saying, not wanting to acknowledge other people and different cultures, and just straight up, I don't know, being a Karen, it seems, and just kind of like doing whatever you want, and not wearing a mask, not respecting other people. Like that seems to be what freedom is to people, and opportunity also seems to be like just getting up to the ladder and then forgetting everything else, forgetting the struggle, forgetting the people who the whole bootstrap thing that you said, that to people is Americanism and freedom and I don't know what else. But it really is so short of where America can really offer if we actually had a system where it took care of people. It gave you education, it gave you health
right,
care, it gave you food accessibility. I think that's where freedom is to me. Like being able
right,
to ensure that everyone around me is okay, then that lessens crime. And now we can
right,
actually, have people housed and everybody have mental services and, harm reduction instead of having more war on drugs. Like those are alternatives that the progressive movement is offering as a different approach to just policing and just ensuring people are incarcerated. And we've talked about this before, right? There's a lot of people in prison. And why is that? Like, is there something wrong with what is going on, right? Like, you would think, like, from the whole world, we have the biggest military and the biggest prison system. Those are the two that have the biggest money. Why, right? But those are things that, again, we can dissect and we talk about everything. But those are the two systems that also make a lot of money. So
right,
we end up back in square one. Like it's about money.
right. But you know that the reality is that these particular midterm elections are very important for different reasons. We
Yeah.
see the right wingers, the extremists. We see the election deniers, and
Yeah.
uh, piling up, and the pro gun, and the people that are taking away your rights. Really, they have an
Yeah.
agenda. They don't want certain books in school. They
Yeah.
and the list goes on and on. That's the reality. That's the people that they are pushing. And on the other hand, you have the Democratic Party that struggle to identify themselves. They have the talking points right, but they fail to produce anything. They cannot seem to deliver the knockout punch. Their policies are very weak. They're not bold. Right
Yeah.
now, we have an issue with the student debt, the forgiveness. They're coming back now, and you can see the Republicans like going crazy, taking Biden to court, trying to stop this from happening. And that was just not everybody got forgiven.
No.
They didn't wipe the student debt.
But
Yet you see right,
people got PPP loan forgiveness though, and
right.
nobody fought that. Like, can we sue for that? Because
What we should have, and see, this is the things that the Democratic Party needs to be doing is going tit for tat.
yeah,
Is that, why is it that? But the problem is that we have the centrists are the problem because they go along with it.
yeah,
They vote
exactly.
for these things. Look at all the judges that they have voted for. All these right wing judges.
Yeah,
Now it's coming back to hunt them. So what we are saying is we need people with conviction that are running for office
yeah,
because what they have for us, this is what they have for us, people, and listen up. They have the same failed policies that don't work. Trickle down economics that don't work. Nothing trickles down, it goes up.
yeah,
They are
yeah.
giving us trickle down housing, they are giving us trickle down healthcare. They're giving us, I mean, you think about it, everything is trickle down that don't work. Right now, the biggest line that the Republicans are using is the economy. How
Yeah.
everybody's bad. I'm going to tell
Mhm.
you who's bad. It's the same people that were bad on during the last cycle, and the cycle before that, and the cycle before that. The working class. We're still at the same square where we were before. Nothing has trickled down. The rich continues to be richer. Corporations continue to push their agenda, and they have record profits,
Yeah.
even through the pandemic.
Hmm. And Katie Porter actually talked about this. She did a whole chart, and I love how she breaks down these points because she showed clearly. If you watch the video, it's on her page on her Twitter and her Instagram. But she basically, with her amazing, beautiful graphs, did a whole demonstration of what is actually happening with the profits. And Robert Reich always talked about this. So that's another one that he was a Secretary of Labor back when Bill Clinton. And he talks about that because I think most people are always wondering, like, oh, it was people are always saying, like, oh, it was that $1,200 check that we got. It was stimulus check. Dang, that's what gets us to inflation. No, are you serious? Like, that is so sad to say that little money trickled down
Right. I
cost us
mean,
a whole economy when the corporations are making billions, and that's another lie. I think
right.
I
How
was
long did
just
it take? How long did it take for the people to receive a few $100s? And
and
they
it
made
was
a big thing about it.
and it wasn't even a month of rent. I'm gonna tell you, most places it wasn't even a month of rent. Okay,
Right.
like that's the other part. A lot of people too right now with LA, the moratorium is gonna end soon, and people still are not able to pay for their debt for rent, and with prices increasing, like they're struggling with food. And it's just nothing trickled down to
Right.
the working class during the pandemic. If anything, we have a worse healthcare system, and we're suffering from shorter lifespans even at that. Like, the life expectancy has also shortened for working class people, so
Right.
not
Talk
nothing
about
really.
that. Talk about that. We have with us our guest, Angelica Dueñas, and I'm gonna go ahead and have her join us. But Jackie, great
Yeah.
conversation here. And for you that are just joining us, we are here, Stand Up, Fight Back, where we discuss analysis, strategic planning for the progressive movement. We are here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. And with us,
Hi.
the one and only Angelica Dueñas. Welcome.
Hi, hello, Carlos. Hello, Jackie. Good evening. How are you?
We're
Yeah, we're
doing
doing
well.
great. How are you doing?
Tired. No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's all days are long days around here, especially as we're approaching the election, the final election day. Los Angeles, you should have received your ballot. If you're registered to vote, you should have received your ballot already. If you haven't, you want to follow up, you want to reach out to your registrar if you're not in Los Angeles, your county registrar, and make sure that you re-register. If you re-register to vote by October the 24th, you shouldn't have any problems voting, a regular vote. After that, you may end up having to vote provisionally. So just make sure that all your stuff is sorted out before the 24th, just to prevent any problems. But hello, everybody. Good
Yes.
evening.
I know that I talked to you a little earlier and you were busy. I mean, I could only imagine how busy you may be right now. Tell us a little bit of your campaign.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, we're out here in Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley, the East San Fernando Valley, in the 29th district, which is pretty much Silmar to like North Hollywood, Studio City area, over from Sun Valley, Pacoima, over to like Van Nuys, and pretty much everything in between. Arleta, Panorama City, Mission Hills, San Fernando, um, Van Nuys, most of Van Nuys, Valley Glen, Valley Village, all of that. So if you guys know and have any family out there in Arleta and all those areas in the East Valley, please let them know that we have an option here. This is not our first run, as you guys know. In 2020, we got over 43% of the vote, 43.3% of the vote. We did that in the middle of a pandemic, with pretty much every challenge that you can imagine. I have 5 children. 4 of them were students at the time, so I had to play the part of being an at-home teacher, with 2 sick parents at the time, with everything being shut down, the health system being completely kind of like on its head, um, not being able to knock on doors. We had a volunteer campaign, team. We were able to get over 43% of the vote with using a disk of data, so raw data they call it, which is basically like a giant spreadsheet, and Google Sheets. So we were able to do with very little resources something really amazing, which was almost take down an incumbent. We were able to do something that a lot of other campaigns with many more resources and huge endorsements and etc. were not able to do. So what does that mean? That means that we have something special happening out here in the San Fernando Valley. And we know that Los Angeles is ready and hungry for change. We're seeing it. We saw Gil Cedillo being
Yeah.
outright ousted in the primary. We're seeing challengers getting first place with Kenneth Mejia and Hugo out there in city council. We're seeing that, speaking of city council, we have, one city council person that's already resigned, Nuri Martinez, and then we have 2 that, maybe pushed out sooner rather than later. So there's a lot of change. There's a lot of people waking up to the unfairness that we've been dealing with, and to really starting to take power. And so it's a very exciting time that we have. And so we have a perfect opportunity here in the San Fernando Valley to replace an iconic, establishment figure, Tony Cardenas, who has been representing our community for over 25 years. And we have very little to show for it. If anything, things have gotten worse. Ever since he got there, he's been at every level of government, from the state assembly to city council to now to Congress. And in city council, we should also note that he was Nuri Martinez's mentor. So, all of these electeds, unfortunately, are here in the Valley anyway, are interrelated with each other. Once one terms ends, they kind of do like a shuffle and exchange positions and things like that. So the people are tired of it. We've had the same representatives representing us like for over 20 years, just kind of switching positions. People are hungry for change. And so if you guys are able to donate, angelicaforcongress.com, if you guys are in Los Angeles and you're able to canvas, that's what we need help with. Unfortunately, we don't have any virtual opportunities, but if you're able to come and canvas for us, angelicaforcongress.com, click on the volunteer button or your /volunteer. You can sign up there. Help us out. And then if you can't, like, drop us $5, $10, we're trying to buy some TV ads. We have some English TV ads going on now. We didn't have that last time around, and they're going great. We're getting contacted, we get emails and text messages from that. And we want to start running some Spanish ads. So if you guys, I'm trying to raise $3,000 for that. So if you guys can help me out, that would be much appreciated. English, obviously, number one spoken language here in the district, but Spanish is the second biggest language spoken. And so we want to make sure that everybody knows that we're an option. The only reason why we didn't win was because not enough people knew we were running. And the minute people know about our run and they get our material, as you can see, like our this is our door hangers. They're beautiful. People have still our door hangers from 2020. Our material is just a little bit different. It's more colorful, it's vibrant. And people are really connecting with our message. And yeah, we just need to get the message out there. That's really like our hang up. Like we need to get it far and wide in the district.
Definitely, Angelica. I mean, we are so proud of your work. I know that you've really been out there on the streets, hitting the doors and doing everything you possibly can. I know it's hard because so many races are happening right now. So many people
It's true.
campaigning for different positions. But we got to give it to you because you have held on your ground. You have been out there serving through it all. And one of the things that really impresses me about you is the fact that even when you have lost, you stood in there. You stood on the front lines. And like a lot of people, once they lose, you never see them again. You have stood your ground because that tells me you care. You know, you care about people. And I think it's really important for people to understand that Angelica is there for the people. As a mom, raising 5 children and still being able to do what you do, that's commendable, you know, and you doing it, you know, even when it's not popular, even when it's, you know, when you don't have the resources. I know that you've been doing, you know, putting stuff, you know, anything that you can just to get the word out. So people, if you're listening to this broadcast, give to Angelica Dueñas. I know I'm gonna give. As soon as we end this broadcast, I'm gonna send a donation to Angelica Dueñas. I hope that you join me.
Yes,
But
and you know what? And your guys don't think that any donation is no donation is too small. Last time we spent 85 cents a vote. 85 cents a vote. We got over 91,000 votes. We were able to get over 43% of the vote with less than $80,000. Our opponent spent $1,400,000. We were outspent 12 times, and we have less than a 7-point gap to close. I mean, this is I really can't tell you you guys why, like, our race for whatever reason is kind of going a little bit, under the radar, just because, and it's the valley, like I get it, like we're way out here. But this is a race that's super realistically like attainable. We're gonna win. And I mean, honestly, like the closest anybody has ever gotten to Tony Cardenas was 26%, and that was Richard Alarcon, who had a history with the community as a former as a former council person, as a former assemblyman with way more resources. And so what we have here is something super super special, and who we have as an opponent, Tony Cardenas. He's somebody that is beyond just a terrible representative. He's a terrible person. He has been accused of sexually assaulting a minor, and the court case kind of came and went under mysterious circumstances. But the facts are the facts, is that, he met this little girl. He then met the family. He got the dad a job. He moved the whole family out of Pacoima into a big house in Valencia, all expenses paid. He manipulated the whole situation, and he's not denying any of it, other than what happened in one day out of this whole like 7-year relationship that was, so all we know is that Tony Cardenas made some really bad decisions, and that he was in a vehicle with this girl for 45 minutes while she was unconscious and needed medical care, and he chose to decline medical care and drive her himself in his car 45 minutes away from the golf course where she passed out. Okay, so those are facts. And so the more we find out, the more we know is that Tony Cardenas should not be empowered. We need to be strong and to stand with victims, to stand with people who are speaking out, and to really just be strong. And regardless if it's popular or not, like you said, Carlos, we have to do the right thing. And this is not the center of my campaign, but this is something that has come to our attention recently that we feel that should be put out there as well. On top of, obviously, we're running a people-centered campaign. people before profits, affordable housing as a human right, health, universal health care, Medicare for all, however you want to call it. We want to make sure that people are being cared for. We want to make sure that people are off the streets and in housing. We want to make sure that people are being treated like human beings. These are the things, because why? Because we've lived a struggle. I've lived a struggle. My family members are out, are struggling their own fights and their own demons, and my life isn't perfect, and neither are my neighbors' lives are perfect. But you know what? We've been trying to do the right thing, and every single one of these houses up and down my street, and hundreds of people that I've spoken in the last few months alone are saying the same thing. We're working so hard, but we're not getting ahead. If anything, we're getting behind. What is going on? People are hungry for change, and this is what we're trying to provide them. And once we're in there, I don't hope to like close the door behind me. What we want to do is share the knowledge and really empower our community. We want to have our community office be a community empowerment center where we're going to be teaching people how to petition government, how to make sure that we take care of things at multiple levels of government, like where it's not congressional. Well, let's figure out who it is, and let's figure out how we're going to get it done. Not just give you a phone number and pass you away to the next person. We want to hold workshops. We want to teach people how to organize, how to get things done, and we want to get field trips of. I want school kids coming through. I want them to learn how to organize. I want to teach people how to run campaigns and do what we've done. Because if we were able to do this here in Los Angeles, imagine if somebody was running a similar campaign that we did somewhere else where they haven't seen an organized campaign come together. These are the resources and the changes that we can do if we teach people how to do it. Organizing doesn't come naturally to all of us, to any of us, I would say, but these are the skills that we need to teach. And Kenneth Mejia's, like with his Excel magic that he's been doing, this is Excel, you guys.
Yeah.
This is literally spreadsheets and information and data. And take this from a person that like, I get sleepy when I think about Excel, to be honest. Like it debilitates my whole body. Like a little piece of my soul dies.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I see the magic in it, and really we need to really start learning how to do these skills. And if it is not for you, partner up with someone who is, and empower each other how to, like, like maybe I can express it better than this person can, but this person can put it in a graphic format better than I can, right? So we need to start learning our skills and sharing our skills. And honestly, like, if we just teach more of us how to do what my team of, like, in 2020 it was like 6 of us, like super volunteers you can say, and then like 20 like volunteers coming and going and working our butts off. But so imagine that, if we were able to do that back then, and this time around I have a bigger super volunteer team and better resources that and I'm only like at $120,000 that we've raised, which is like, oh, Angelica, that's like nothing. Well, I only raised like $78,000 last time, like by election day. So like this is way more than we did before. We have a small gap. I have a team that actually, like, we were able to partner up with people who know what they're doing, and who have been learning along the way. Like my teammates, like Spencer, who has been doing our digital ads, who has learned so many things and has been able to now share it with other campaigns, right? So this is the things that we need to do, is not hold on to power like we've been seeing like the Democratic Party and the Republican Party do, is that we need to really share power and teach people how to do the things that work. So I'm hoping that, once things settle down, maybe Eunice's, I'll be honest, like, everybody's kind of like working on their own thing, but maybe Eunice's team, Hugo's team, Kenneth's team, and my team, and other teams that have been having like great, David's team, we can come together and really start maybe putting a workshop together or something, like where we can teach what we've learned and make it accessible. Because that's number one. I think that I personally haven't had the time to make it happen, but that's my goal. Once we win, we want to teach people, and I want to use my social media platforms as an education platform and really lend it out to organizations and to mentors that are able to teach these things way better than I would, or anybody in, like, on a volunteer basis would. And to really just empower other leaders and just kind of like be a resource of empowerment across the board for the working class. And I think
Angelica,
that's
just to
super important.
understand your opponent, Tony Cardenas, who supports him?
Oh my God. So in 2020, his number one, well, like as far as industry wise, is big pharma, private medical industry, the private utilities, and all these just awful freaking corporations. Individual corporations are his number one donor last time around. It's kind of ironic. His number one donor in 2020 was Davita, which if you guys know who Davita is, like they do a lot of stuff, but like their number one thing is dialysis. They provide dialysis. Who gets dialysis? Usually people who are diabetics, normally, not, there's other things that causes you to get dialysis too, but okay. His number one donor, Davita. Number four, American Crystal Sugar, which is like what causes like diabetes and a lot of these problems. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's like the poison and like, kind of like the partial cure, like is funding this guy. So this like it's all these bad guys. Not right now in 2022, his number one is actually APAC. By far, they are like I think like twice as bigger than anybody else that has been donating to him.
And
And
pretty much those are the establishment. These are the
oh yeah,
establishment.
oh
These are the
yeah,
people that pretty
he
much,
spent $1 million already.
Wow.
these are the people that
Yeah.
pretty much tell you who should be representing who. They don't even come to the communities. These are the people that push the big money, Jackie. We're talking about
Yeah.
millions of dollars.
I have to even say, like, I've met Angelica Dueñas in like May Day in the street. Every time I'm in the streets, okay, every time in the streets, I see you. I see you. And I'm like, hi. And we have talked about like we've talked about this whole thing where she was telling me about the like organizing hubs and the organizing workshops. Because when we talk about this is people power. Like this is
Yep.
actually people power. And I feel like most of the groups that I'm in and the organizations I'm with and political campaigns as well, they're so small, and it's because we still don't have the ability to bring people out and them understand that power. So you
Mhm.
have, what is it, Tony Cardenas with money, that's how he mobilizes. And
Yep.
yet we see candidates like Angelica. This is where we want to mobilize our actual platform, and what progressives want is a platform of people. So
Mhm.
that's really, I just have to say, like, I've seen you in the streets and I've said hi to you, so I know you're a real one. I know you're a real one, and we have these conversations too. So when we have these types of, because I always want to know the candidates, like I'm like, how real are you? Like, and I have to say, when we have those conversations and they're able to actually explain how they want to divest that power, it really tells me what type of government it is that we're trying to mobilize here. And I just want to commend you for that. And also, your stuff is cute and amazing, both colors. It tells me we want both change. So I really want to commend your campaign and all of the people who are working with you right now. And
Thank you.
what is something that you would tell, just folks out there that are watching, don't know where to begin, right? How,
Mhm.
there's so many political campaigns, there's so many things out there.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the folks that are in San Fernando Valley. Like, with everything that's happened in LA and so many, Nuna Martinez representing them, and all of the downfall that's had, the San Fernando Valley has had so many shortcomings from so many years at this point. What is something you would tell your constituents that are watching and that want to understand, like, how do I actually get involved?
Yeah. I mean, I would say like don't get discouraged. And I know I hope I don't start crying, but don't get discouraged because like I get it. Like this is we hear a lot of people who are just like over it. Like well like we haven't dealt with any negativity really, like anybody being mean to us in the campaign trail, to be honest. Like none of our volunteers have, outside of maybe like mean dogs or something going into somebody's yard. But we haven't dealt with any mean people like the worst that it's been is like, ay, Angelica, why don't you try something like more smaller? Like that seems so big, you know? And I explained to them, like, why don't you go for a city? And I tried to explain to them, like, that would make sense in a smaller city, but around here, city of council is actually one of the bigger cities to run for, one of the
Yeah.
bigger seats to run for. Technically, Congress is a lesser, you know, is less powerful, but there's no term. Anyways, it's like a mixed thing. Point
Mm.
being is that I was telling him, like, it's not like that. But my point being, though, is that the reason why I'm running for DC is because I believe that I don't have time, first of all, to be playing that game, you know, and I understand that that's the game that most people play, and we don't have time. We're in a state of emergency, and desperate times call for desperate measures,
Yeah.
and this kind of seems crazy. Like, I get it. Like, who are you even? Like, I was literally just like an HR lady and just kind of like working with little companies here and there and like raising my kids and trying to be flexible over making bank, you know what I mean? Because honestly, like, you know, I have a lot of kids. So, anyways, I was kind of like trying to juggle between like trying to be, you know, I don't know, like trying to get by and survive and be a good mom and what have you. Um, but when Bernie Sanders ran in 2015, or he started his campaign and he was saying all these things and he was putting words to it, it was like, yes, right? And it's just kind of like it woke up this other thing that it was already there. Because I went to school for political science. I was like, that was kind of like my goal was to be, maybe one day I'll run, but honestly, I was like, maybe I could be an office lady at somebody's elected office. Like, I was like, because they would come to the school and they seemed cool and nice and like fancy or whatever. I was like, I could do that. And I was 2 weeks into, I swear I had like deleted this from my brain until I was talking to Ankur Patel, which you may know about. I was 2 weeks into a congressional internship. Okay, when I found out I was pregnant with my first baby. And so, like, I quit, you know, I quit the internship. I was in Congresswoman Hilda Solis's office, and at the time she was a congresswoman. I never got to meet her. Actually, I think she was probably away during the whole time I was in the office here in East LA. And I got another job. I was working, I was going to school full time. I had a part-time job, I got another part-time job, and that was that. Because the steps are, you intern and maybe you get hired on, and then you work for like a long time, and then you get the nod, you know what I'm saying? And then you run, you know, that's just how it goes, you know. And so this is kind of super crazy. So I get it when people kind of like look at our race, or people who are like us, who are running like kind of like out of nowhere, one could say, without political experience, without being under and somebody being mentored directly from an elected. Like, I get it. It seems so crazy because that's not how it goes, right? However, clearly that hasn't been working. Clearly, like, that's not like the way to do it, because that's how it's been going on for like ever. So we need to do something different, right? And so what I would say is, like, please do not, like, don't dream small. Like, you know what I mean? Like we need to dream big, and we need to think about our children. And if you don't have kids, like your nieces, nephews, your neighbors' kids, whatever, like, we need to start thinking about our future, and honestly start thinking like generations forward, and how our actions are going to affect, and how our complacency is gonna reflect upon us in the future and all this stuff. Like, we really need to start thinking about these things, because believe me, like, we're living in some really important and epic times, and we're going to look back on this, and maybe you'll be able to rationalize your lack of action or whatever. But you know, I think that we're going to feel a certain type of way, that if we had an opportunity to do something and we sat it out, you know, and living the consequences. Because right now we're at a point where things can go really good, right? If we get it together, or things can go really bad. You know, people are tired of the way things been going. So you're seeing that with like Gil Cedillo being ousted by an abolitionist who had never run for office before, in a primary with only the them two. Like, what? Like, you know, Kenneth Mejia beating the establishment by like 20%, right, in getting first place and going making it over to the runoff. You have Hugo beating snap, I always forget, O'Farrell,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? Beating O'Farrell in the primary and actually getting first place in the primary against an incumbent. So what we're seeing is people like tired of business as usual, right? Which is great. However, that's how we got Trump. Huh. So
Yeah,
things
this
could
is
go
true.
really good, but things can go really freaking bad. So
Hmm.
right now it's our responsibility to make sure that we give people good options, not lesser of two evils, because what that happens is people sit it out. And we need to give people something to vote for, and I believe that that's what my campaign has been able to do and transcend that with beautiful material. We don't ignore anybody. We don't ignore anybody. Like, I don't focus on Republicans, but I don't ignore them, I'll be honest. You know what I mean? Like, we have conversations, and we don't agree, but like, they see what we're going, and they have the people that we've been able to talk to, they trust me, right? I've had Republicans come out and canvas, you guys. So you guys out there that you're thinking about canvassing, and you're like, I got like old elderly Republican little, elderly men to come and canvas for me, you guys. So like, come
Yeah.
on, make it out here. You guys can do it. People are open to change. People have been so welcoming. The worst that we've ever gotten is, maybe you should try a smaller, like a lesser seat. That's as bad, as much a struggle that we get. And I talk to them as to my reasonings behind why, and they're like, sold. Okay, I'm no, I see why. I'm gonna vote for you. I'm gonna vote for you, and I'm gonna tell everybody who I know. So we got 43.3% of the vote last time without being able to knock on doors and have conversations. We were just leaving door hangers behind, and sometimes if the door was open, if somebody was out in the yard, we would have a conversation and stuff like that. But this time around, it's different. And what we're getting is that people are ready for change. What we're getting is people are responding to our things, like our text messages. We're actually having conversations. We're having a hard time keeping up with everybody's responses. And people are very welcome to something different. And so if you guys have an opportunity to come out here and canvas, please, 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 please sign up. You can, go to the website angelicaforcongress.com, click on the volunteer button. You can like call or text 818-962-8392, and we can go ahead and get you set up. We
Can you repeat
have
the number, please?
I'm
Can
sorry.
you can you repeat the number?
Oh yeah, 818-962-8392, and that's on our website. So if you go to, I'm like trying to see if I have in my little flyers. I don't have any little flyer right here offhand, but it's on all my stuff. Like, we put our phone number on everything, and people call and text us. Like, we've gotten calls and texts off of from our door hangers. People are, feel comfortable reaching out, and I have like, little friends who check in on me every once in a while, that have checked in on me throughout these couple of years. And I mean, honestly, like, I'm touched. Like, if I think about it too hard, like, I start crying and stuff, because like, it's kind of amazing that, we have people who don't know me, who really have love for me, for my family, for our story, for our message, for the issues, for our cause. I mean, people who have, opened their hearts, opened their wallets. I mean, I have people who have donated, like strangers that I've never met before, who are like working as servers, donating $1,000. Like, that's just, to me, it's just like crazy and amazing. And I mean, I'm at a loss, really, but I'm so grateful, and I wanna. My biggest fear is just letting you all down once I'm in there, because I know I'm gonna get in there, and just my biggest fear is that, because we haven't had these mentors, is that, that we're going to be learning a little longer than people who are able to just kind of run with it. But I do know that I have amazing support, and I do have amazing friends that know a lot of things, and I know that I'm going to have an amazing staff, but that's just my biggest concern, is like, is letting us down. So I'm going to work really hard when I'm in there. So angelicaforcongress.com, if you guys, are able to donate, please do. Sooner rather than later, because it takes a while to get the money from ACLU and
Time
stuff.
is running out, and the days are coming.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that if you listen, people, this is the time to do it. I
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
mean,
now.
look,
If you're waiting for a sign, it's right here.
yeah. So
uh,
here it is. This is what you got to think about, pretty much. This is what we need to think about. You have an
Yeah.
establishment person that been there for 20 years and done nothing
mhm.
for San
Nothing,
Fernando.
nothing, nothing. But you know what? No, I'll take that back. Worse than nothing. He has been giving contracts to his friends and family, so he's been enriching himself and his circle of friends. Like, he actually has given Nudie Martinez's husband about $500,000 for political consulting, and they hit it out really well. I think he owns the G7 something group. I don't know,
Yeah.
and they just go political consulting, no name attached to it, but
Right.
there's data people who like keep track of these things, and some guy on Twitter was able to let me know. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
almost $500,000 or $500,000, and then also $500,000 to his wife Norma, who is she's a hypnotist. I think that's what she's certified in, but she's getting paid to social media consult. I'm not
That's
sure
kind
what
of
she
freaky.
does.
That's kind of
I'm
weird,
not sure.
though. You're
But see,
literally,
that's
I
what
mean,
happens. Right.
what was I gonna
I'm just
say? Do
saying.
you have social media? Because for our
Oh yes,
viewers too.
yes. If you guys on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, really, and TikTok. I'm not really that on TikTok. But Angelica, the number 4CA. So ANGLICA, the number 4CA, and you can find us there, or just kind of Angelica Dueñas, and we should pop up rather easily. If people out there, if you guys want to help us with our Twitter, I'm not with our Twitter, not our Twitter, the TikTok. Like, I'm not that creative, and I can't do the editing and do the little words and stuff. Like, I'm like,
It's
if
a
we have
lot.
somebody who's like, I'm like, I can point and I'll do the thing. If you guys can add the words to it, please, you know what I mean? Like, so there's plenty of cute ways that we can get the word out there to vote, how to register, the deadline. So if you can help us out with that, that's something virtual that people, can help us out with. But outside of that, if you guys can come down, canvassing, door knocking. If you're not comfortable knocking on doors, dropping off a door hanger, that's fine. That goes a long way too. So whatever you're comfortable with, we'll take it. People, like I said, they love our material. So getting one of these door hangers on their door like really makes people's days. And
Souvenir, man.
it's a
Yeah, you
souvenir.
can
I mean,
decorate your house
So
with
honestly,
that.
cute.
when
It's
we
really
win,
cute.
it's gonna be a collector's item
Yeah,
probably.
a
Look
vintage.
at here's our yard signs.
Look at that.
I love them. They're so bold.
They're
Hold
super
on, hold on.
pretty.
Hold on. Put it out again. Let me
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Look at
Let's
that.
take
I'll put it the big. There you go. Look how pretty they are.
it.
My friend Jorge Nuno designed these.
Those are nice.
And these got printed in an awesome in his union shop down in
Nice.
South Los Angeles. So
I
if
like
my
that.
friends out there, if you guys are thinking about getting stuff printed, like he's amazing, super creative, and made this happen. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So I'm
Gonna need
super.
that
I mean,
information.
so beautiful, so beautiful. So I have just amazing friends who have gifted me their talents. Okay, and it's I'm just so grateful. It has been such a beautiful, just humbling experience. I mean, it's exhausting, and I swear to God, like sometimes I'm just like, what am I doing? And sometimes it's like I'm so tired by like the end, like because we're up to like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
scheduling text messages, like making sure that we re-edit and edit, emails and graphics and stuff like that. Like it's a lot of work, and with 5 kids, like there's laundry to be done, there's a house to be kept, and dishes to be washed. And I think that's something that people forget about my life. But you know I need you guys. So like if you guys can help me out in any way, like if you guys can throw me $5, $500, $2,900 is the maximum. So if you can max out, greatly appreciated. But by all means, it's not something that you know but we can do a whole lot with very little. So if you've been thinking about helping a campaign, if you've been considering helping my campaign, please do. I do need help. We do need help. My team is amazing, and we can do a lot with very little. But at the same time, I don't think it's fair for us to have to struggle and do so many of the things that we've been doing in order to compensate the lack of resources. And my team deserves a break, but they're giving me their everything. And we need you guys to support us, because
Well, we
it's
believe in
getting
you.
hard
And
Yeah.
to keep it
Yeah.
up.
yeah, we believe in you. I think that, like I say, you have done so much for us for standing up. that it is your time to to make this a reality. And the fact is that this is not going to happen by itself. People, you got to get out there and give Angelica a hand. You got to lift her hands. She's tired, but she's has not given up,
Oh
and she
yeah.
will continue
No,
to
there's
fight.
no giving up. I mean, that's not an option. So
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
not an option, you know. So I mean,
So thank you, Angelica.
I've given up too much in order there's no turning back, you know what I'm saying? So many special moments that we know we've had to sacrifice, and I can't go to family things, and because for the time being, like, we need to prioritize this fight. And so I don't want that to be for naught, right? Like, I want all of these sacrifices to be worth it, and they are, regardless of the outcome. But I think that we need to really focus on victories, and we need to focus on power and on gaining power and using power. And I'm ready to get power. I'm tired of complaining, and I'm tired of screaming and yelling and being angry, because that's kind of one of the things that we're known for out here. Like, a couple of us is like being pissed off and yelling and at the top of our lungs, because I mean, what else can we do? And um I want to do this with purpose, right? And obviously not yelling, but this fight, I want this to be with purpose. And I think power is really where it's at, where we can make some changes happen. I'm tired of being correct. I want to be able, being right about stuff. I want to be able to make things happen. And that's what we're working on out here. AngelicaForCongress.com, Angelica, the number 4Congress.com, or FOR. Both of them will get us over to the website. Please help us out. Whatever you can do,
Thank
we'd
you for being
appreciate
with
it.
us. Thank you for
Thank
being with us in a
you.
short notice. We wish you nothing but the best. You know that our hearts are with you. But most
Thank
important,
you.
we thank your husband for sure for allowing for allowing you to do this, because I know
Yes.
it takes a toll on him as well.
My
But
husband, Enoch Garcia, thank you so much, babe. Like, you're amazing. You're a great dad. You're a wonderful husband. You're a great son-in-law. Like, he's really been stepping up and making sure that things are under control when I'm not able to be home. So thank you so much. Thank
That's
you to my
yes,
mother, and
amazing.
just my kids. Like, they're just, my whole family is just amazing. So thank you for everybody who's been helping. My best friends, thank you everybody, and my supporters out there. Mario, my super duper volunteer. Everybody, please, thank you so much. We really appreciate everything that you're doing, Hugo. All of you guys, like, thank you. But
And
from the bottom of my heart.
I want to say, Angelica, too, thanks for being in the streets when, we're out there all together for a cause, because that really is what always gets me to realize there are politicians who will stand with us, right? So I do want to thank you for being out there with us when we need it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, it's just kind of, I wish I could be out there even more. Like, people are like, oh,
Yeah,
how do you
same.
do
Yeah,
so
me too.
much? Blah blah blah. I'm like, serious. I'm like at 40% of the
Yeah.
stuff that I really want to get done. Like, half the time I look at my phone, it's like, oh man, there's something happening. I had no
Right.
idea,
Yeah.
and so, we
Oh,
all are doing what we can do. And I'm just so proud of all of us that, um from 2015 on this way, like, I I mean, I still have my friends from before, obviously, but like, I have, like, with my activist friends, I have this other set of friends that I appreciate so much. And Carlos, Jackie, you're one of them, or a few, two of them that, people who I've interacted with, who I truly consider my comrades. And that, it's just beautiful, this community that we've been able to build. And I want to be able that I want to be able to support us even more, because a lot of us are getting burned out. A lot of us are doing a lot, a disproportionate amount of the work that,
yeah.
I think that we can really, spread out there. There's people who want to do things and they don't know how to get into it. So, it's our responsibility. I think once we're in power, to connect people with resources and groups and everything like that. And I think that our office being a space where these meetings can happen will also be great. And having our social media platforms being a space where a lot of these connections can happen will also be a good thing. We need to get more of us out there. And there's like a saying, and I hope I don't mess it up. In Spanish, it's like entre más hay menos y entre menos hay más, which is, but between more of us, there's less, and in between less of us, there's more. When it comes down to like work, right? If there's more of us, there's less work to be done if we split it up, and if there's less of us, there's more work to be done if we split it up. So the more the merrier in many ways in our movement. And we need to be open to talk to people and not cancel people, because if we're canceling everybody, then
Yeah.
what's the point of really trying to convince people to change?
And
And
learn.
we need to be forgiving, we need to be loving. And if we could accept freaking X, like literal X, like skinheads, Nazis that are now changed their lives, and they're and they're literally talking to other races, or to try and convince them out of that life. I mean, why can't we accept our ex Trumper neighbor that maybe is coming around, you know what I mean, to some of these things? So we need to just be open, because you'd be amazed what a conversation can do. And I've had some amazing connections happen in these last 4+ years of running for office and organizing in Los Angeles. And we need to keep on talking. We need to keep on conversating, and and I fall right there too. We need to be more forgiving and more opening to dialogue, but at the same time holding people accountable, right? So it's a special time, you guys. We're in it. It's a very special moment here in Los Angeles, in America, and across the world. For the working class, and it's like, what are we going to do with it? And I think that that's really up to us.
Well,
Angelica
thank
for
you so much.
Congress.com.
Yes, thank you so much, Angelica, for joining us tonight. It's been an honor having you here with us. And of course, you're always welcome here to speak to our audience and those people that do follow this podcast. But
Thank you.
we wish you nothing but the best. Expect a little something from me. I'm gonna make
Thank
sure
you,
that
Carlos.
you get a little donation there for your
I
campaign.
appreciate it. Thank you
But
so much.
you're very special. Jackie, any last words that you have for Angelica?
Yeah, honestly, you're an inspiration to so many of us. And I'm just hoping that more and more folks have that motivation to also go against the status quo. And really, the more people we get elected, the less alone progressives will
Mhm.
feel in being able to pass, the
Mhm.
policies that we need. So,
Yes.
really, thank you so much for keeping the color and the lights, and being such an inspiration to LA
Thank
and
you.
to what we need. So I'll see you out there,
Yes.
and I'll try to donate whatever I can. I'm still trying to, get out of my struggle. But those
I
five
know.
bucks, those $10, you're right,
Yep.
it makes a
And
difference. So whatever it
we're
is.
so grateful for anything you can do. Believe me, a dollar gets us like 2 text messages. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like we spent less than 85 than a dollar last time per vote. So we can do a whole
Yeah.
lot with very little. If I can leave a little bit of advice for people who are considering running for office, I would say this. First of all, ask yourself, why are you running? And if it's you just woke up one day and you're just like, I'm going to run for office, if you can at least get 3 people to get behind you to live that same to live that same dream with you, that's at minimum. And it doesn't matter who they are, honestly. It can literally be your kids, your cousin, like your mom, whatever. But you need a team. Number one, after once you figure that part out, get your data and learn how to freaking work it. Get your data. And number three, get social media ads going as soon as you can. And it's really that's the beginning. That's really the beginning. And after that, it's ground game. You know what I mean? Get your ground game going. But please do not be discouraged by not having a crazy amount of money. I've talked to people, and I'm not going to put people out there or whatever, but I've talked to people who were like, if I can't raise like $200,000 by this day, I'm going to have to cancel my raise. I'm like, no, do not do that, because this and that and the other. And I'll tell you right now, they're right now in the general running, head to head, and probably going to win their race. So you do not let money be discouraging. If you have a team and you have a dream and people to stand behind you, and you have enough like talent to be able to work data, that's key. um, you're unstoppable. And so please just cover those bases. And honestly, we can start taking over every single seat of power that we choose.
Let's
So
do it.
please. So reach out to me too for stuff like that. AngelicaForCongress.com. Well, I'll be happy to dialogue a little bit. Obviously, we can't go too long between now and the election, but after the election, even more so. AngelicaForCongress.com. AngelicaForCongress at gmail.com. You can email me. I'm not hard to find. Help us out. I'm ready to help you out too. And yeah, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for everything you're
All right.
doing.
Thank
Have a
you.
good rest of your night.
You too.
Great.
Buenas
You have been
noches.
watching Stand Up Fight Back, where we discuss strategy analysis for the progressive movement. We are here in Southern California. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Sunday. Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Have a good night.